Left-Wing Kingz. Listen, think, act, repeat.
Since 1990, an average of over 1 million immigrants a year have entered into our country. Both candidates say that they have a plan to address this polarizing issue. Steve, how do the candidates plan to handle immigration, and will either plan solve the issue?
Okay, I look at it like this. You got a sledgehammer, you got a knife, and you got a scalpel. You got a cancer patient. Trump's plan is just to take a sledgehammer to the patient. He's kicking everybody out. He's going to kick all the illegal immigrants out, 11 million, okay? That is going to be hella expensive. So when you talk about debt, when you talk about things that are going to drive up inflation, that is going to hurt our economy. When you listen to people talk about illegal immigrants right now, they never speak on how many jobs we have that they have created. We don't talk about the rent that they pay. We don't talk about the sales tax that we benefit from these people being here. These people go to work every day in jobs that, real talk, a lot of Americans don't want to do. Okay? So when you do that, that's going to wreck. That's going to wreak havoc. Okay? Because Trump has everybody in a frenzy, I feel like Harris is a little bit kind of hawkish on that. She's saying some things. I'm like, well, you kind of, I think you need to be more accurate on what's going on. We do need to have immigration reform. We need to make sure that we have the accurate number of people that we need here to keep the workforce together. Okay. I don't think either one of them truly address that. I think that Harris's plan is more fair. Harris is talking about path to citizenship. She is talking about putting money at the border. But what they need to start doing is they need to start doing more research on how many people do we really need here. Mm-hmm. Okay. We also need to look at not only how many people do we need here, the people who are already here. Okay, the people who are useful here, if you're useful here with them, we need to approach those people. We need to get paperwork on them. Let's get paperwork on everybody, okay? So we know who's here. We know who should be here. If people shouldn't be here with them, they do need to get kicked the fuck out, okay? Mm-hmm. But a lot of these people here who are here illegally, quote unquote, it's because of paperwork. They don't have the money for the paperwork. They were running for something and they didn't have, the time or the money to do it the right way. So let's back up and say, okay, let's get this paperwork together so we know who's here. Because it is a security issue if you don't know who's in your country. But Trump's plan to just kick everybody out, that wouldn't work at all.
Yeah.
It needs to be scalpeled. We need to, like I said, we need to look at each case and decide that the people need to be here. But just kicking everybody out is not a good idea.
Right.
I just think politically, and I've always kind of said this, immigration is a softball, underhand pitch for, politics, meaning that the party that's in power, the one that's not in power can always point to immigration and say, hey, look at immigration, man. People are still, it's never been fixed. I'm 54 years old. I've never heard somebody say, man, immigration is great. It's always been a topic they talk about in every presidential election, and they go after the party that's in power. You know what I'm saying? So you nailed it right there with what you're saying about Trump's policy. It's funny you say that. Same time this week, Abbott just passed a law here in Texas where they're going to start asking people in the hospital if they're American citizens. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And LULAC is in uproar for it. And I always kind of told us a lot of my Hispanic friends, like, how are they going to do that? How are they going to distinguish, if you're here or not? So now you got to go to the hospital. They're going to ask you if you're a U.S. citizen or not. That's happening in Texas now. Mm-hmm. Now they're going to go with mass deportation. How are they going to determine that? You know what I'm saying? Like you said, sledgehammer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're not going to sit up there and say, take time to do this. They're going to be racially profiling them,
Yeah.
basically. That's horrible. That's a horrible plan on that. And, you just pointed out the expenses behind it. And I didn't really think about that in depth. Like, yeah, you're right. We'll lose a shitload of money behind that. You know what I'm saying? If you just push everybody out at once. Immigration, yeah, there has to be reform there. Like you said, a lot of it's paperwork, but that's been a snowball that's been rolling for years. I'm not, we have to do something to it, but it's easy for the people not in power to say, hey, man, y'all are messing up on immigration, and you did this. Trump did it about Obama. Obama did it about Bush, and so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? So,
there's 2 points I just want to bring up to what you just said, like about profiling, like racial profiling. They just, I think it was in Virginia, Youngkin just like passed something where 1,600 people were taken off the voter rolls.
Yeah.
And guess what? I think a news company called like 100 of those people, and the majority of those people had last names or names that seemed foreign, like Abdul, whatever. Then there was some Asian people and stuff like that. So that was basically profiling. And the problem with that is a lot of those people who were taken off the rolls are citizens, who should be voting. And so now they can't vote unless they re-register. Right, so that's a big problem, and the same thing could happen with deportation. You start kicking people out of the country who's supposed to be here, who are citizens. And then the second point that I wanted to bring up was immigration. Man, like you said, it's been around forever, but the problem with immigration is it is intended to keep poor people from being in our country, because if you have money, you can get a visa, you can do all the paperwork. You could do everything you need to do to get into the country. It's a money thing. It's not even about like, is this person really trying to come over here to work, or are they trying to be a terrorist or whatever? It's not even about that. If a terrorist got enough money and he ain't on the terror list, guess what he can do?
He can
get here.
Yeah. Like
that's
they do.
That's how they got here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's really about, hey, these people don't have money. So we're going to make it hard for them to get in by creating all of these rules and making it cost money to do it. Not just rules, things that cost money to do. If they just had rules and didn't cost anybody any money, a lot of these people who are illegal immigrants would probably be legal because they don't have to spend it. That's why do you think that they always claim asylum?
Yeah.
Because there costs no money to claim asylum. Not because they're being persecuted. Maybe they are. But at the end of the day, they're trying to find the cheapest route to get into our country. And this, once again, is just a way to stop people from coming into our country who don't have money. They don't really care about that. They don't care about anything else except keeping the poor people poor.
And also, when you look at immigration, part of the problem is this. You have all these people who come in, and if you're here illegally and you're exploited, which a lot of these companies exploit illegal people. A lot of the chicken factories and slaughterhouses and stuff, they exploit these people, okay?
Yeah.
The farmers, some of the farmers exploit these people. They have no repercussions. Because if you're here illegally, you can't go and say, hey, well, I wasn't paid a fair wage. Okay? Right. Those things need to change. Because if you made it so you had to pay people a fair wage, well, then, look, maybe some Americans might want to do some of it, not many. But it might, it might help, like as far as carpentry jobs and stuff like that a lot of people who are illegal do. I think that might help some. Number one. Number two, how much do you think, because earlier we were talking about finance. How do you think inflation is going to be if you take everybody who is here illegally, who's freaking picking cotton, who's picking strawberries, who's working at orchards? You take all those people out. What are your prices at the grocery store going to be?
Yep.
Because right now, inflation is a reaction. We're having post-COVID inflation. It's global. That is shooting yourself in the foot. Yeah. You are asking for inflation. You are asking for this country to go broke if you take that route. And people say Trump isn't racist. to kick motherfuckers out so you can shoot yourself in the foot so it can be harder for everybody else is some racist shit. That's the only reason you would do that.
Yeah, man. I mean, Ralphie May, he's a comic, and he says, man, you don't want to. You know how much your salad would be if a white person's out there picking your lettuce? He said, that's a $30 salad right there. he said, you don't want that. Yeah, that's man. Funny. So, I mean, you hit the nail on the head, man. We shooting ourselves in the foot. And, I mean, the racism thing, what kills me when you say that and when people are following him, just admit you just don't, that's not you don't care about that. Don't say he's not racist. Say he's racist, but that's not a concern of mine. Because a lot of people try to play the racist. They try to go back and forth. He's doing racist shit right in front of us. Mm-hmm. So, don't tell me he ain't racist. Like, immigration, like I said, once again, even with immigration, it's racist. You're not talking about anybody who's coming from another country, like you said, seeking asylum, that ain't Hispanic. You're talking about Hispanic southern border problems. You don't see nobody in Michigan or anywhere talking about border issues. You know what I'm saying?
He's talking shit about the Haitians too. Yeah. You gotta be light bright for him not to fuck with you, man.
And
like I said, it's about poor people. They don't want poor people
coming in. Poor brown and black people is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, I'm pretty sure it's poor people coming from Ukraine, and they ain't saying nothing about that. And of course they had a war and all that. But it's people coming over from Eastern Europe and any of the Slavic nations that they've been having issues for years and coming over here. And, and they have gangs just like everybody else has gangs. You know what I'm saying? Yep. It's funny because I saw a gang leader one time say they trying to block us from coming over, and we don't go to the boat, we fly in. Mm-hmm. Just like you said, they got money. The people y'all are talking about are the issues are flying in and coming in and causing havoc. They don't try to cross at the border like that. They got visas and passports and everything and not operate. So it's just I was looking at a political ad today, and it was a Texas ad, and the guy was talking about the border. It's like all this grandstanding at the border. I'm going to be at the border and I'm going to protect you and this and that. From the cartels, and the cartels ain't trying to cross over through the Rio Grande, bro. They got houses and shit here already. You know what I'm saying? Businesses. So it's just immigration once again, just a topic that the politicians just can play with, and they'll always have that there.
Yeah,
go ahead.
They use immigration too to stoke fear.
Yeah.
In us by saying, hey, they're sending over people who are raping us and terrorists and this, that, and the other. And at the end of the day, I mean that. Those are things that are vitally important, and they lead us into our next topic, which is national security.